Hi everyone, my name is Rishad. Today is the 14th of January 2023 and I'm going to be making my weekly prediction for SPY. As usual, we'll go over the monthly, weekly, and finally the daily charts, and then switch over to the Excel sheet where we'll go over the prediction and option chain in more detail, as well as review last week's prediction. But before going into the video, it's important to make the disclaimer that all information is completely educational and therefore it's important to conduct your own analysis before entering a position in the market in order to avoid unnecessary losses. But on that note, let's get into this video. So monthly charts, we can see obviously same as last week, is that there's these last 2 months, December and November, have been extremely bullish, and we can see this since actually it's gone up on rising volume. It's confirming that there's a large bullish sentiment for the last 2 months. Extremely strong candles. This one is pretty much a Marubozu candle, and this one is a very strong bullish candle as well. So candlestick wise, we have a very strong bullish indication from the monthly charts, which is also backed by volume, since volume actually did go up in the last from the last month. So if we open up the RSI here, we can see this in more detail. We can see the RSI average is now going up along with the RSI. But let's now head over to the weekly charts. So here's where things get interesting. Last week we had an unexpected downwards week, which is likely because of people closing positions, but for the most part it did not support the technical analysis. We can see that now our price pattern has formed this upward wedge, which when broken would likely result in a downwards movement, since wedges tend to have downward breakouts, specifically upward wedges. But another interesting development is now this price is again close to SPY's all-time high, which is at 480.06 or around 480. So, and since last week, we can immediately set the support this week for the high of the previous candle, which is at 473.67. So we take that as support and we take the resistance at 480.06. So this week is going to be pretty important, since if it does end up breaking this resistance, then we do have, again, a very strong confirmation of bullish movement. We can see that the RSI average is steadily going up and supporting this upward movement so far. As we can see, the RSI is a little bit shaky, but the average is still pointing upwards. Again, very strong indication that the market is still leaning to go upwards, and we can see that the volume is pretty steady as well for this last week. But that's where we have the support and resistance. This is the resistance here at 480.06, and the high of the previous candle is the support at 473.67. Next, let's head to the daily charts, where we can see this price action in even more detail. So we can now see that from the 8th of January, the first 3 days were actually, well, the first 2 days formed an inside bar candle, which we can see. And the way to trade this, well, it's not technically an inside bar, but it's almost an inside bar candle. So we can see that, but the next candle here did actually break the high of the previous candle quite strongly. But obviously our previous week's prediction was that this would have triggered a buy signal, and when we switch over to the Excel sheet, you will see this. But it did end up breaking the high of this inside bar type of candle. However, the next 2 days were actually pretty bearish. It went down quite a bit on the 11th, then spiked up again and opened here, but then went down again. So we have, again, some volatile movement towards the end of the week, but we did have on lower volume. So we can still safely say that the market is expecting a bullish continuation, but that's why we have the support and resistance in place, since wherever direction the market does end up going is where we want to profit off of. Now we can see some more interesting things. We can see that the RSI is going, the average is actually going downwards, but the RSI has crossed it from below, which is again a good bullish signal as well from the daily charts, which again gives us a little bit more confidence that the market can still go upwards. But if it doesn't, then we do have our support in place. So let's now switch over to this Excel sheet where we can see last week's prediction and obviously go over this one. So last week we had a buy signal on the 9th of January, entry price 471.87, 238 shares were taken, total exposure is 112,305.06. And our exit price is 476.59, giving us a 1% profit at $1,123.36 US, and our closing balance now is 13,792.84. Now, this week's prediction, since this week's close is actually the monthly expiry as well, We have no trade yet. We wait for the candles breakout. Buy when it crosses the resistance at 480.06. Sell when it falls below the support at 473.67. Target 1% trailing stop loss. If the target or stop loss isn't hit, then we close. We take the close on the Friday. And max Y for the monthly expiry is 480 for CE at 75,004 and 430 for PE at 229,401. Now monthly PCR is 1.72. Again, highly overbought. But most of the weekly and monthly trend is up. But before ending this video, I would like to cover the fact that the monthly PCR is extremely high. So when the put sellers close their position by buying puts, that's going to cause a very severe downturn in the market. That's why we still have a support. Otherwise, it would have been a clear buy. But we can see that this option chain is suggesting that the market is extremely overbought. For every one call, we have 1.72 puts. That's extremely overbought. So that's why we do have our support and resistance in place. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Enjoy, and I will see you next time.